Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another video. So in today's video, we'll be talking about some of the craziest, most insane iPod scams on eBay. Everything from fake packaging to re-wrapped iPod touches to iPods selling for crazy, insane prices. We're just gonna take a look at everything. But first, I'm so sorry I haven't been posting in quite a long time. Recently, I've just been busy with a lot of stuff like my debate championships and tournaments, my swim meets, and just school in general. I've just been busy. I'm so sorry, but I had some free time this weekend, so I was like, why not make a video? So I just thought of this idea from, I know like Elite Obsolete has covered this, DankPods has covered this, so I'm gonna put my own spin on this entire iPod eBay scam operation. So just like a lot of old tech, iPods, they're now considered valuable now. Some of them not as much. Like my iPod Touch here. I only got it for $35 off of eBay. I'm just covering the serial number. It's a 32 gig model, 4th generation iPod Touch. Meanwhile, what I have on the right is the 7th gen, the last of the iPods. I got this brand new in 2021 off of Amazon for $199. To replace my it was $199. It was to replace my old 5th gen Touch, which I was using for quite a long time. It was like because then a year later, the iPod Touch 7 was entirely discontinued, and Apple stopped making the iPod anymore. But now they're basically flooding eBay now with offers for brand new iPod Touches selling at like crazy cheap prices. But what may surprise you is they all might be scams. I've seen some of these pictures, they're quite crazy. Not even the real iPod font. I know DankPods covered they repackaged 5th generation classics as brand new in his video about the scams on the 5th gen Touch. As an iPod owner myself, I have 3 of them. I have the 4th gen and 7th gen Touches, and I also have a 4th gen classic. This is just the faceplate and click wheel for it. It needs a lot of work. That's going to be getting its own video. But the 4th gen classic is possibly the cheapest iPod that you can find on eBay because there's a ton of them around, just like the 4th gen Touch. And I know like a lot of the early Nanos, there's a lot of them. Unlike the Shuffle, most of those are the 2nd gen. And then basically these aren't that expensive. Meanwhile, if you take a look at the 5th gen and the 7th gen, they are going for absolutely crazy prices on eBay. Most 5th gens start at $50. That's what you would get for like a professionally restored one a few years back. Well, you know who to blame? DankPods. You'd be like, how could you place the blame on such a fun Aussie guy? Well, it's not entirely his fault, but because back in 2019, when he released his first ever video, he basically just started the resurgence, the popularity of the iPod. People were digging them out of their drawers, flash modding them. And I know Elite Obsolete got started before the DankPods did, because I know he has publicly acknowledged Elite Obsolete in a couple of his early videos, saying that he provided DankPods with the parts to fix some of his old iPods. I know Elite Obsolete he's very big in the iPod modding community. Go check him out. I'm just adjusting my camera. And after DankPods released his first few videos, especially the 1TB one where he put 1TB in an old 7th gen classic, I know my uncle has his. I'm letting him keep it because it's very rare and collectible. Then the 7th gen classics went up in price. Then with the Bluetooth iPod with the 5th gen, people then realized that those were going up in price now because people were doing Bluetooth mods to the 5th gens. And then you know another reason why? The Wolfson DAC. People just view the Wolfson DAC as a status symbol. Me personally, I use an iPod with the Wolfson DAC, which is my 4th gen Touch. But you know what's weird? It uses Cirrus Logic technology for like the audio like encoding and decoding, but then like if you want to listen to music through the headphones, that's when the Wolfson DAC kicks in. The 5th gen Touches and everything newer have Cirrus Logic DACs in them. I know like This is the motherboard for my 4th gen classic. It's very sad, but it has a Wolfson DAC because it's one of the older iPods. And then this is like the headphone jack assembly, also very sad. And like basically the Wolfson DAC has become now a status symbol. People don't think the Sirius iPods are weird. I've used both the Wolfson and Sirius iPods. I gotta say, they're like the exact same. So it doesn't matter if you choose either Wolfson or Sirius if you're debating on which iPod to get. Both are excellent DACs, but they have different flavors and sound quality. And that's another reason for the resurgence to the price of 5th gens. The first, second, and finally, the first, second, and 3rd gens. The first is expensive because it's the first iPod. The 2nd gen is expensive because it's another early iPod, and it's like the same as the 1st gen. I know DankPods called it the iPod 1S because it's basically a 1st gen with a scroll wheel and a difference in the back case. The 3rd gen, in my opinion, one of the coolest iPods. It's basically one of these, the 4th gen, but with a different touch buttons. It didn't even have the click wheel, it had the touch wheel, and like the 4 separate buttons, illumination, and it even had it had the same blue backlight as the 4th gen. This is the sad screen I pulled out of mine. It was my dad's old iPod. That'll get its own video again someday. But then the 4th gen and the minis are the ones that are the cheapest now. Like if you get one with a dead drive in it, I hope I don't bring up the price of iPod minis and the iPodznmore 4th gens with this video. If I am very sorry for that. And then basically the 5th, 6th, and 7th gens, they're not changing prices. And then you'll definitely be thinking there are 100% Apple scams with other products. Let's just take my old MacBook Pro as an example. I got this from the recycling center for free. It's not in that great condition. The feet are missing. It's a late 2012 Retina model with a Core i5, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 128 gig SSD. I'd say this is like one of my favorite older Mac laptops in my opinion. It's nice and reflective, and the coating hasn't even come off yet. It just needed a new reformat reinstall of macOS. And then there's also like MacBook scams. I know Luke Miani's done an entire video absolutely exposing it. Basically what they're doing is they're selling these poor condition MacBooks that are inaccurately advertised for these absolutely insane and crazy prices. Just like with these iPods, as I'm about to absolutely blow this iPod scam business apart. So how about this? We're going to hop on the iMac, and then we're going to hop on eBay, and we're going to take a look at some of these absolutely crazy iPod scams. You're basically seeing all these fancy shoes and sneakers. So we're just going to search iPod on eBay, and we're going to take a look at the scammy listings, and we're just going to expose all the flaws. The first listing you can see here is this listing for what's supposed to be a brand new iPod Touch 7th gen. So we're just going to take a look at the listing here. You can see there's all these emojis, and they make all these crazy claims. It's in all these carts, but then most of it, they're just stock photos. This is 100% a stock photo. I don't know why, but why is this iPod in Italian? Another stock photo. And then this is, I believe, a genuine iPod Touch. Here's another iPod in front of a MacBook Air. But then, it gets weirder. This is the wrong iPod font. This is the font that was in the 5th gen Touch box. But this is supposed to be a 7th gen Touch. But then also gets even worse. They're basically overcharging for these iPods, and then you can't even trust that they're new. They have a bunch of stock photos for like a bunch of random iPods. There's some 6th gen, some 7th gen, so let's just get it. 7th gen, 256 gigs in gold. $250? That's crazy. These iPods are like so expensive now, all because of DankPods. And then this is an LA scam. You're paying $250 for a potentially repackaged iPod Touch 7th gen that was bought by resellers in the final days. And then look at this one right here. Do you notice something suspicious? Well, it's because the iPod font is wrong. This iPod was basically a part of a repack, and then look, though that is like the exact same text. the exact same text. So what I'm thinking is, you remember how I talked about Luke Miani's exposing of the MacBook scam? Well, he mentioned how one company, the Wellicky Group, was behind all the MacBook nonsense that was going on. I think one company is behind basically the reselling of all these iPod Touches. It's literally the exact same title, but with different photos. And then, the price ranges are eerily similar. But what we're trying to look at are the iPod Classic scams, especially among the 5.5 gen, which I mentioned earlier. And then, remember how I talked about how DankPods did the review on the iPod 5th gen being a scam? Well, this one right here, this is not the right iPod font. That is the wrong iPod font. And then, if I recall correctly, this photo is not on the box for any of the 5th gens. And then, this one's in Japanese. There's literally stock photos. These are the ones that Elite Obsolete makes. And it gets even worse. It's just all stock photos. There's photos of some genuine ones over here. The U2 iPods. I think these are stock. That one might be C. And then, we'd like to turn our attention to this one right here. It's supposedly a sealed 5th gen, just like the one DankPods reviewed in that one video where he exposed an eBay iPod scam. But look at the font. It's the fake iPod font again. The same one that DankPods had in that video. That one has the real font. This one's the fake font. These are basically, what they're doing is, these people and these Chinese sellers are repackaging the iPods and then reselling them as brand new because, look, fake iPod font on these crazy customized iPods. You can get them from Elite Obsolete. They're the professionals. So let's just say we want to get a 5.5 gen because the Wolf's in DAC. Let's just do 128 gigs, and then let's just do the good old black iPod, like the one DankPod's got, $146.99, and then since it's all from a Chinese seller, all the parts are guaranteed to fail in no time. These iPods are basically the made in China special. So let's look at the descriptions. It offers the best sound quality amongst the iPod family via the fabled Wolfson DAC. Lies, because all the iPods, to any human ear, they sound the exact same. Wolfson is serious. It's the same stinking sound, but then they're making the Wolfson sound so famous. Look, we take pride in being the best of the best. I know Elite Obsolete said that the Chinese special adapters that you can get from Amazon, they're not at all reliable, but if you're on a budget, they work. And then we're just looking at these are let's take a look at these two listings. This one's for a 20 gig 4th gen classic, supposedly with a new battery, and $59.99. I found one with a working battery but with a dead hard drive for $27 with shipping. Put a cheap flash kit in there, and you'll get a good iPod for a lot cheaper than this. Same thing with this one right here. This is a 5th gen 30 gigabyte black with a new battery. $79.99! That's crazy! People are finding them for very cheap at Goodwill, put a flash kit in it from Amazon, and it's a lot cheaper. But this iPod is not a scam. This is the same listing I bought my 4th gen Touch from. I'd say the seller Save On Electronics is absolutely excellent. I 100% trust him. Please buy from him. I'm not patronizing. I'm not his sponsor or partner or anything. I'm just a very happy customer. So I recommend going and buying from his store. So right here we have these are iPod Nano 3rd gens. These should be for pretty cheap. Let's just say blue iPod Nano 3rd gen, $73. And I have no idea if this is a repack or not. I'm just trying to take a look. These appear pretty... Oh, fake iPod font. That is definitely... These definitely appear to be repacks. Because look at the fake iPod font. And then most of these photos have absolutely no relation to each other. And then they have different settings than that fake iPod font though. That's absolutely sketchy. And then here you have basically what you get on Elite Obsolete for $300. $300! These people are selling modded iPods for like these absolutely insane prices on eBay, making them seem like they're absolute collectibles, but then they're not at all. How about this one? This is basically an iPod 5.5 gen, but then there's photos of a 7th gen in there. More inconsistencies equals more red flags. And then you're saying it's in mint condition, when I believe this appears to be a replacement back case. So let's just look at the description. iPod, and then you know what? I thought it said 5th gen, but it's 6th gen. And then it doesn't even have like some saying about the Cirrus Logic DAC. They're making the Cirrus DAC seem awful. The Wolfson DAC they're making is now just a gimmick because the people saying it's amazing. And then here's some iPod Touches for literally $59.99. And then Smart Sales USA. This is a USA seller. These iPod Touches that looks like a pretty genuine listing. Well then here's Smart Sales USA again. These are some of the 4th gen Touches. And then this is an Apple stock photo from Save On Electronics. Brand new battery, but then he has his own photos in here. So I 100% trust him. However, he does have his real name there, so I think I might have to blur that out in editing. But like normally here it has his eBay handle, but then like when you click on it, it has his full name. I'm gonna blur it out in post-production. So then, oh, it has Wolfson DAC in the title from iPodznmore. I think he's one of the guys pulling the strings behind this whole iPod scam. And $300, a 5.5 didn't even cost this price when it was brand new. And these stupid people are overselling them with 128 gigs of an SSD space with the so-called fabled Wolfson DAC. Don't get me started on the Wolfson versus Cirrus debate. And then Atomic 3000 mega battery. I know Elite Obsolete sells these on his store for a lot cheaper. And then, you know, it already says 1 terabyte iFlash quad in the description, but then the title says 128 gig SSD. So this is kind of suspicious. And then does it mention the Wolfson DAC in the description? Not at all. Strangely. And then look, poor grammar. That is definitely a red flag. Look, full stop. Look, it says iPod without a capitalized I. iPodznmore specialized in electronics. Space full stop. iPod, no space before the full, no space. The full stop should be there, and there should be a space, and then iPodznmore, the I should be capitalized. iPodznmore believes in exceptional customer service and fast shipping. We want our customers to experience a very satisfying experience for online shopping. Our main product is Apple iPod Classics. The I should be lowercase, but then the P should be capitalized. Look, full stop, no space. Enjoy your experience and shop with us. You won't regret your decision. Purchasing from us backed up with a 30-day warranty. But then as Luke Miani said in his MacBook video, these warranties usually are rip-offs. And then look, $45 for, and then this MEIEStore, basically, he has become victim to the DankPods trend of iPods, the DankPods effect, as I like to call it. Basically, where any iPod in any condition is marked up for these insane prices. I've seen some crazy ones on the iPod Reddit before, and then iPodsznmore. I think this is the same guy as iPodznmore with the Atomic Wolfson pod. This is basically an EOE iPod, basically badging the Wolfson DAC as special and unique for the same price. I think this is basically the same. Basically, I think this guy is definitely pulling the strings behind these accounts. And then Save On Electronics, but I trust him. He's flash modding these. He's flash modding into a story of these iPod Mini 2nd gens. You can get 4, 6, 64, 128, or 256 gigs in them. Even though it might look expensive, it's actually a lot better because they are flash modded. Here's Save On Electronics again with the iPod Nano 2nd gens. They're for pretty good prices. I'm acknowledging you can get them for better prices at at a yard sale, but this is like eBay. And then you know what's weird? These photos are showing different versions of iOS. This is iOS 7, iOS 6, iOS 7, iOS 7. A lot of these are like, that's iOS 8, that's iOS 7. And then you know what? These are all running iOS 9.3.5. So basically they're making you think like, oh, I'm getting a collectible. It's running iOS 7 when it's running the slowest version of iOS possible. Unless they like cool boot it or tethered it, or they downgraded it a while ago. Let's see the prices. 32 gigs, slate black, and then in, oh my goodness, $24.99. You can only buy them in poor grade. Oh my goodness, this is a scam. And then look, this listing is making me kind of fishy. It's all stock photos showing some of the, and it's like a pile of a bunch of iPods. Look, you can see the fake iPod font. These are definitely all stock photos. That's a good song, Danny California. And then let's just scroll down. My bet is they mentioned Wolfson. So let's take a look. It doesn't mention the Wolfson DAC anywhere. And it mentions how but you can get a parts pod on, say, like eBay or Goodwill, and do it yourself for cheaper. And then a lot of these iPod Touches have like so similar titles. And look, all of these, this is so pathetic. They all have the fake iPod font on the package. And then here's iPodznmore striking again with his crazy Wolfson pods. But let's go to EOE. Let's see what EOE has to offer for his iPod. Let's go for a nice iPod Classic, an Atomic pre-built pod. They're a lot cheaper than what's on eBay. Look, starting at $210. Yes, it's a lot of money, but they're professionally restored. And then you are still saving a lot of money compared to what you get on eBay. I'm not like trying to advertise EOE or anything, but I recommend him. Even though I haven't bought from him yet, but I've heard some people are very satisfied with him. He sells some stuff. I know he does sell like rare iOS versions. 256 gigs for $399. If you want to use that that's good. That's pretty much a steal. Like, this can still be used as a main phone in 2025. $400 for a phone in 2025, especially an Apple one, even if it's a few years out of date, that's good. So let's just click out of EOE, but then there's this guy charging $300 for these Atomic iPods. And then that is 100% a scam. I think I could build my own Atomic at home for a lot cheaper than that. I'm using like some budget parts, and then $300 for this with a 256 SSD. Again, Elite Obsolete does this for cheaper, and then he basically took the Danquad effect and took it to the nth power and is overcharging for these poorly built iPods with like AliExpress parts that I absolutely do not recommend. In no way do I. And then I've seen some people charging for iPod Nanos with expanded batteries and the black spot on like Mercari for a lot of money. And then 30 gigabyte white iPod Classic for $34.99. It just needs a new bat. I'd say that would be good. The new bats are pretty cheap on Amazon. And then there's Save On Electronics, $14.99 for an 8 gig touch. I'd say that is 100% a very good price. And then here's basically a classic 4th gen with and then it comes with a FireWire cable. I'm not kidding. It comes with FireWire and USB cable, a USB wall charger, and your headphones. So I think that is a pretty good price. But this is making me a little suspicious. This is supposed to be a sealed iPod Touch 4th gen and 64 gigs of storage. I know Luke Miani got scammed, and then fake iPod font, off-center Apple logo. That is a red flag, and is that somewhat peeled up? Oh, this, and then there's like watermarking. This is 100% a scam. That is sketchy. These iPods are like, I've seen Nanos. There's even Nanos with a fake font. this is basically an accessory set for 19 bucks with the first gen touch 8 gigs. And then look, there's this, it's literally the same font, same text, same emojis, same grammar and formatting. I can tell that, like, these are definitely run by, like, probably, like, a very similar companies. I'm not kidding. And then here's this. Dale iPod Touch. He also had, and then why is this Dale iPod Touch and then Jason iPods? Just like the Save on Electronics, his real name is here, but then it says Dale iPod Touch there. And then over here you have, and then this is pretty sketchy. This is 100% sketchy. These like supposedly pre-modded iPod classics. I know EOE did another video, and they were originally 30 gigs. And then look, they're advertising the Wolfson DAC. It's not as big as you think it is. The other iPods have the same exact DAC. The end. And I'm not kidding. These iPods, I feel like a lot of these are run by the same company, just like with the MacBook scam. And they're basically just trying to make a quick buck by scaring people on these awful iPods that are poorly made. New Year's Day promotion, New Year's has passed. I'm not kidding. So I'd say at this time, we're just gonna end the screen recording there, and we're gonna go back to the main camera. So if you can't tell, those iPod listings, they were absolutely crazy, charging for prices more than what they were brand new. So I'd say if you want to stick with a good iPod, find one for cheap at, say, a garage sale or something. So basically, these are my quick recommendations. If you want a classic, find it at, say, shopgoodwill.com or a garage sale. If you want a touch, those are very cheap across eBay. Look for ones not like advertising that it's brand new. Specifically, look for ones that appear to be like slightly used or something. For nanos and shuffles, try to avoid ones with expanded batteries or those sketchy like claims. Try to find one with a pre-replaced battery in it. So that's my quick iPod spiel. So with that, I'm gonna end my video. Huge thank you thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was a really long one, but there was a lot to unpack in this video. Please like, watch, and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.